Well, hey there guys, I'm Axel the Beast, and this is the Curiosity Shop, the ZeldaEngine.net video mailbag where I answer your Zelda questions. And our first question comes from Austin Shane Allen. In your last mailbag, you touched upon ways to use voice acting in a Zelda game without saying the player's name, but what about a game with voice acting and a fictional language? This is something a lot of people have brought up, that you'd have, like, the characters not speak English. And, you know, it's an interesting idea. It's been effective in numerous other games, like the Ico game, specifically Shadow of the Colossus. It's shown up a few times in Zelda in like a subdued form, like in the Wind Waker, or better example would be in Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword with Midna and Fi. But I'm actually not particularly fond of it, mainly because I just don't see the point. I mean, why would you have the character speak if you're just gonna have him say gibberish? I mean, it's a cute little thing to flesh out the world, but it doesn't really change the voice acting argument at all. I guess it would help with saying the name, because you could just have them say something for your name and it can be whatever they want it to be. But, you know, aside from that benefit, I don't see the particular benefit of doing the language thing other than just to be cool. Hero of Thyme asks, in the same vein as the Tingle question in last week's mailbag, why is it that Beedle is a character in Skyward Sword as well as the Wind Waker? I mean, I get that he's an awesome character, but there is no explanation. Is this a case of Nintendo loving a character and it just being a video game? Yeah, there's definitely no explanation for this. They're just reusing the character. It's not the same person. It's not the same guy somehow living into another game. It's just they reuse the character design and character concept. Actually, with Beedle and Skyward Sword, I am actually a little irritated about it, because other than the main cast, like Link and Zelda and whatever, he's the only recurring character in Skyward Sword, and because of that, I think he's like out of place. It's just like, okay, Skyward Sword's the game, you got all the new guys, and then you go up to the sky, and then, oh, there's freaking Beedle. I just think it was very random throwing him in, and I don't think it was necessarily the greatest of ideas. I don't know. Random Link 7 asks, what is the most frustrating minigame for you in any Zelda game? For me, be sure to tell me yours, but for me, it would be the freaking Goron dancing minigame in Oracle of Ages. The Subrosion dancing in Seasons was pretty bad too, but the Goron one was worse. They're just really irritating, like, I guess, rhythm things. They're way too difficult for something. I mean, in a Zelda game, it's an absurdly difficult and specific thing that you're never going to use at any point in the rest of the game. You're just going to use it here, and it's really, really hard. And it's also just, it's way too hard for something that it's required to complete the game. If this was like a special unlockable or something, alright, but these were like really frustrating games, more so than any other minigame in the series, most of which I enjoy. Hylian Maria asks, why does Link always get non-human female partners? Well, the non-human part is easy, because, you know, I mean, aside from having another playable character, or really changing the way the game works so you have other people going with you, you kind of need to have something small that, or something not quite human that can just come with you and pop out and talk to you and whatever. I guess there is an example of a human one, which would be Zelda in Spirit Tracks, although she's a ghost, so maybe that really doesn't count. But as for the female part, that's a little hard to say. There have been male ones, like Eslo and the King of Red Lions in the Minish Cap and the Wind Waker, respectively. And technically, the old guy, the last sage dude in A Link to the Past, sort of counts as one of the first examples. And then there's the phone guy in Link's Awakening. But admittedly, they are majority female. And I guess the reason for that probably just has to do with, like, the dynamics of the characters interacting. Somehow it works to have a female talking to a male, I guess, you know. But also keep in mind that there's a large percentage of major female characters in the Zelda series. I mean, there's Zelda, but then there's also, like, most of the sages in Ocarina of Time were female. And there's always Link's love interest, you know, things like that. It just seems to be something the Zelda series does a lot. Editor Finn asks, with the sword pedestal for the Master Sword, what do you think keeps happening to it? Because it gets changed and or moved in each game. I'm not convinced even Nintendo has any idea what's going on with that. I mean, yeah, it really does. And in A Link to the Past, it's in the woods. In Ocarina of Time, it's in the Temple of Time. And then in Twilight Princess, it's in the woods again. But still in the Temple of Time, not in the city. And, you know, in Skyward Sword, it's technically in the forest again, in the supposedly Temple of Time. Hyrule Historia claims that the Steel Temple may, they say may, become the Temple of Time. So, yeah, they just keep moving it around, and I'm not sure what's going on there. I mean, to some degree, you could say it's a retcon. Maybe they've decided to retcon it so that it's in the woods again, like it was in A Link to the Past. But maybe not. It's just really strange that they keep going back and forth. I'd have to wait another game or two where they show that to decide on what they're settling on with that. It is pretty weird, though. They just keep moving this pedestal. It makes you wonder if they just took like an excavation crew and just dug it up and moved it, you know. The Timpani Kid 90, I think that's how you're supposed to say that, asks, do you feel that when comparing Link's Awakening and the Oracle games, it seems Capcom rushed Link's Awakening? I felt that elements like the dialogue, the landscape, and even having the bosses speak felt awkward. The Oracle games seem to flow a lot more smoothly. Well, I don't necessarily agree that it's a big difference like you're describing. Like, I like the dialogue in Link's Awakening, I like the bosses and whatnot. But I will admit there's some parts of the game that are definitely rougher. I prefer Oracle of Ages specifically over it. I haven't beaten Seasons yet, mainly because I'm not a big fan of it thus far at the point I'm in. I'm like maybe 3 dungeons in. I think what you're describing really, it's not so much that like they put less effort or time into it. It's simply that it came out earlier. The Oracle games were clearly based on it, and they took what, you know, they learned from that game and they made more with it. It also should be noted that it's 2 different companies, Nintendo and Capcom. Capcom did the Oracle games. I've got that right. I'm pretty sure I do. So, different company, learning from past mistakes. It's not like they took less time on it. That doesn't make sense. Southwind asks, Phantom Hourglass doesn't have anything really that relates to the other Zelda games, does it? Well, numerous items. The basic gameplay really is pretty much the same. Direct plot connection, timeline connection to the Wind Waker. It's right after. It has the same characters, a lot of the major cast. You know, it has a lot to do with the other Zelda games. What are you talking about? Sir Duke asks, what do you think of the Silent Realms from Skyward Sword? What was your strategy while going through them? Would you try to sneak by or just run for your life? I love the Silent Realms. I was actually playing Resident Evil 2 just before picking up Skyward Sword. So I was like in the middle of playing a horror game, and then I played Skyward Sword, and I can honestly say, comparing them side by side, the Silent Realms were pretty scary. I mean, it's a different kind of scare, but I was, like, screaming during the first Silent Realm, and they're legitimately alarming, and they freak you out, especially with all the crazy stuff that happens. As for my strategy, I mean, tell me your guys' strategies, but I usually tried to sneak around as much as possible. Obviously, when I trip alarms, I run, run. But I don't say I recklessly ran through all of, like, the Waking Water and the Guardian Watchers, whatever you call them. I didn't, like, run through those. I definitely snuck. It's funner sneaking. Diego asks, in the year 2000, a Zelda tech demo was released for their newest system, the GameCube. In 2011, a Zelda tech demo was released for their newest system, the Wii U. The demo from 2000 had the best graphics at the time and amazing controls. The demo from 2011 had the best graphics at this time and amazing controls. It seems history is repeating itself. Hundreds of Zelda fans were disappointed with the cel-shaded Wind Waker. Do you think the Nintendo fan will disappoint us again? Well, I don't know what you're saying about controls because you can't even play those 2 tech demos, but regarding like them being disappointed, the Wind Waker wasn't a disappointment. I mean, yeah, a lot of people complained about the cel-shaded graphics when they first showed up, but then when we actually saw them in the game, when they were polished and implemented into a consistent art style, I don't think a lot of people had a problem with that. I think that a lot of the distaste of the control of the graphics went away after that. Yeah, there's going to be some people that are still dislike it. I know a few, but I mean, it's still that no one's going to like every art style the same amount as everyone else. I mean, it's just natural. I don't think Wind Waker was a disappointment, and I don't think the next game is going to be either. Though I definitely agree that it's probably not going to look like the tech demo at all. They're going to do something different. Anthony the Great asks, what do you think about an entire new direction with the Zelda series that changes the formula? Talking with friends, some said they'd love a more Elder Scrolls type of thing, and others a turn-based RPG like Paper Mario. I'd love to know your opinion. Well, I don't mind a new direction for, like, side games. I mean, experiment like crazy with those. There's no excuse not to, but with the main series, I mean, like, I have to ask your friends, why are they playing Zelda? I mean, if they don't like Zelda, it makes sense. You don't like it, you want it to be something else because, well, it's not good, or at least it's not your thing. That I don't have a problem with. What bugs me is, do they even like Zelda? If so, what if they like Zelda, why do they want it to be another series? Or why should it be another series? Wouldn't that defy what you actually like about it? Beyond that, I guess, even if you don't like it, why do you want it to be another series that you like? Can it be its own thing? I mean, unless, of course, you think it's just objectively bad, which is fair. But I don't see why Zelda should just arbitrarily change into something else. That doesn't make sense to me. It's a series, it should be itself. And our last question is from LinkFan 1112. Now that the official timeline has been confirmed, where would you put the next Zelda game and why? Well, I wrote a whole article about this, but I'll just sum it up for you because, you know, it's old, you don't want to read that. Basically, I think that the next Zelda game is going to be at the end of one of the timelines. Which one, I'm not sure. I really have no idea. But it's definitely going to be at the end, I think, because they've concluded all of the current storylines in the Zelda series. I mean, think about all the different storylines and recurring points. They've tidied them up. So I think that the next game is going to do something new based on the the worlds that have ended their previous storylines in the 3 different timelines, because that's 3 distinct Zelda worlds by this point. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think the 3DS game will probably be the same way, but that's my opinion. Alright guys, that's it for this time. Be sure to send your question to the contact page in the description, and I'll see you guys later.